Tonight on Reporting Scotland, President Trump is on his way. He left Washington just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. Back here, security's heightened at his golf courses in Turnberry and Aberdeenshire for his 4-day visit.
We're now heading to Scotland. I'm meeting with the Prime Minister of UK.
We'll be live from Turnberry and Prestwick as we await the President's arrival, also on tonight's programme. Mhairi Black, the former SNP deputy leader at Westminster, has quit the party.
Coming up in tonight's sport, on the week he announced his retirement from boxing, former undisputed world champion Josh Taylor tells us how hard the decision has been to accept.
And we hear from the artist Andy Goldsworthy ahead of the opening of his largest indoor exhibition of his work. Hello, I'm Laura McKeever. Welcome to Friday's programme. The President of the United States will touch down in Scotland shortly amid a massive security operation. Donald Trump, whose mother was from the Isle of Lewis, is one of only 4 American presidents to have visited Scotland while in office. It's being billed as a private trip ahead of an official state visit to the UK in September. He's expected to visit his 2 golf resorts, Turnberry in Ayrshire and many in Aberdeenshire, but Mr Trump will also meet the Prime Minister and the First Minister. Protests are also expected and thousands of officers have been drafted in to police and protect, as our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan reports.
Turnberry is being turned into a maximum security golf course. The last time Donald Trump was here as president, the police plan was titled Operation Roll. Operation Roll 2 has noticeably ramped things up. A steel fence snakes along much of the perimeter. Above all else, with every means at their disposal, the #1 mission for Police Scotland is to protect the most powerful man in the Western world. The police will have covert and overt surveillance all the way around Turnberry to watch out for intruders. An air exclusion zone will be in place. They have the technology to bring down drones. And it's safe to assume the RAF will be on standby to intercept any hijacked planes. The President left Washington this afternoon for a 5-day trip mixing golf, business and politics. He'll go to Turnberry and his second resort at Menny in Aberdeenshire. A longer visit than last time, presenting more of a challenge. 6,000 police officers will be on duty.
There is an enhanced level of complexity about the visit this time, which will absolutely test the plans and the commanders that are in place around about that. I've no doubt, however, that they'll be up to it. And as the President himself might say, we'll see a big, beautiful and safe operation by the end of things.
Just as they did 7 years ago, protesters will try to take the shine off things for the President. This weekend, demonstrations are expected at Turnberry, Edinburgh, Aberdeen and Dumfries.
What he represents is completely at odds with what we represent. We're about peace and friendship, we're about economic expansion, we're against war. He's quite the opposite. He's a warmonger, keeps company with war criminals. So as far as we're concerned, he shouldn't have come here in the first place, but as soon as he leaves here, the better.
The Scottish Chamber of Commerce says Donald Trump should be welcomed with open arms. His visit's an opportunity to strengthen ties with the world's biggest economy. That pro-business view is shared by the local community council at Menny.
What he's doing is bringing prosperity, wealth, and also everything's coming cascading down to the local businesses, the hotels, the restaurants. You know, everybody's benefiting.
But back in Ayrshire, the inconvenience caused by a visiting US president is trying the patience of others.
There's a huge element here that's just very disruptive for a really busy area. It's a coastal town, it's the middle of summer, so we're busy, it's one of our busiest weeks, and it's just been, it's disruptive to say the least.
The Trump family's jet is already on the tarmac at Prestwick. This evening it will be joined by one of the world's most distinctive planes.
Everyone has their different political views. I'm not a fan myself, but I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm just here for the plane, not him.
The intense security won't let up until he leaves. The President's exact schedule hasn't been made public, but Donald Trump is not known for hiding away. Love him or loathe him, the scene is set for a memorable few days.
Well, David is at Turnberry for us tonight, awaiting the President's arrival, and our reporter Ben Phillip is at Prestwick International Airport as well, where Air Force One will land this evening. To you first, Dave. You spent the day around Turnberry. What's it been like?
It's felt a bit like the calm before the arrival of the Donald Trump storm. To say a ring of steel is around Turnberry doesn't feel like too much of an exaggeration. Everywhere you look down around the golf course there are police officers, and then of course there's all that security that we can't see as well. Numerous agencies have been involved in planning this, Police Scotland, the MI5, the US Secret Service, the US Embassy and many others. I spoke to one former police commander who said that Police Scotland will be aware that protesters will probably try something new, something innovative to try and grab the media's attention. He says they can live with that. That won't be their big concern. Another former police commander said that if you look at everything that surrounds Donald Trump at the moment and those assassination attempts last year, he thinks that there has never been a more high-profile and high-risk visitor to Scotland. So the number one priority for Police Scotland is to keep the President safe, to protect him until he leaves Scotland next Tuesday. OK, well, Dave, thanks to you for now. And there'll be a no-fly zone between Turnberry and Prestwick Airport for the arrival. Ben is there at Prestwick. What's the scene there, Ben?
Excitement's growing here at Glasgow Prestwick as well, Laura. We are expecting Donald Trump to arrive here on Air Force One later on this evening. And as you can see, hundreds of plane spotters are gathered here on the grassy bank overlooking the runway. Many have been here since this morning. Some people have travelled from further afield in other parts of the UK. But certainly from speaking to people, it would appear that people are more excited about the aircraft rather than the man who is on it. Air Force One, of course, one of the most recognisable planes in the world, a flying White House, if you like, and many people here think Air Force One is on their bucket list to see, and they'll be hoping to see it as it lands here later this evening.
And Ben, we've been hearing from Dave there about the security at Turnberry for this visit. What's the situation there then at Prestwick?
Plenty of police here as well, Laura. Many officers standing around the perimeter of the airport. I don't know if you can see the air traffic control tower behind me. There are snipers situated on the tower. There's also US Air Force planes which have been moving around throughout today, as they have been throughout the week. We understand Donald Trump will be moving on from here to Turnberry when he arrives tonight. In the past, he has taken the half-hour drive in his armoured limousine, nicknamed the Beast, as part of his presidential motorcade. But he also has the option of flying by helicopter in Marine One. But the plane spotters here certainly tonight will have to wait and see if that's another one that they can tick off their bucket list when the US President touches down here in Scotland later tonight.
Indeed, and you'll be there to see it for us, Ben. Thank you for now. Now, President Trump's expected to meet the Prime Minister, the First Minister and the President of the European Commission while he's here. Our political editor, Glenn Campbell's been looking at a very political private visit.
Leaving the White House for the greens of his Scottish golf resorts and a long weekend teeing off and talking trade.
We're now heading to Scotland. I'm meeting with the Prime Minister of UK.
They have trade details to finalise after an initial deal was reached in May. On a visit to Rolls-Royce near Glasgow this morning, the Chancellor stressed that working closely with the US President was paying dividends.
We are the first country in the world to secure a trade deal with the US. That has real benefits for jobs here at Rolls-Royce and in manufacturing and defence jobs right across Scotland.
The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is a major international concern as Donald Trump arrives in Scotland, and the First Minister wants to raise this in his wider discussions with the President.
It's important that we use this opportunity to make sure that Scotland's voice is heard on the issues that matter to us domestically, and also on the issues and the concerns that we all have about the international situation, particularly about the suffering that is going on in Gaza at this time, and our time should be used to take forward those issues.
In recent days, President Trump has renewed calls for Aberdeen to get rid of offshore windmills in favour of drilling for more oil, drawing the ire of environmental campaigners.
It's not really Donald Trump's place to meddle in Scottish politics or in British politics, and to make pretty unfounded remarks about what we should be doing with our energy system.
In Stornoway, near the birthplace of Donald Trump's mother, locals wonder what kind of reception the controversial son of Marianne McLeod deserves.
People in Scotland don't really share his views, his values, and really don't want him here.
I think it's great. I think he's the democratically elected representative of his country.
I don't see why the Scottish or British taxpayer should pick up the bill for security, etc.
Finalising a trade deal without mishaps.
Sorry about that.
That would be a good weekend for Keir Starmer, especially as this trip is just a warm-up for the full state visit in September.
Well, Glenn Campbell is here with us now. Glenn, Donald Trump, of course, has been to Scotland more than any other president, hasn't he? And this is for business, politics and family reasons.
Yeah, I mean, he's become the ultimate frequent flyer over the last 20 years. He's made much of his family heritage here, his mum having been born and brought up on the Isle of Lewis before emigrating to the United States. He's developed two golf resorts by taking over and redeveloping Turnberry, and by starting from scratch on Trump International in Aberdeenshire. That one was much more controversial, of course, because it resulted in the destruction of a site of special scientific interest, and there were clashes with locals in that community, and it's not yet delivered the economic benefit and the jobs that Donald Trump originally promised. Of course, this visit is one that he is making as president. It was initially billed as a private visit. I'm not sure you can make a private visit when you're the president of the United States. Clearly, he is having political meetings while he's here, although I'm sure he'll be making time to hit a few balls at Turnberry, and there is the suggestion that he will also open the second new course in Aberdeenshire before he heads back to the States.
And what will the political leaders here be looking to get for themselves out of those meetings?
Well, I think the first thing is to get a hearing, to be heard by the most powerful man, certainly in the Western world. And I think they would also hope that they can have some influence on his thinking, particularly on those economic issues, when President Trump is considering tariffs for all sorts of products and in all sorts of countries. They will be wanting to keep those as low as possible when there are key Scottish interests like whisky and salmon, for example. I think beyond that, what they'll be hoping is to avoid any kind of embarrassment, because when you're dealing face to face with somebody as unpredictable as Donald Trump, almost anything is possible.
We will see what the next few days bring. Glenn, thank you for now. Let's get some of the day's other stories now. And a 67-year-old man has been arrested over the murder of a woman in North Ayrshire more than 30 years ago. Shona Stevens, who was 31 and had been a student at Paisley University, was savagely attacked near her home in Irvine in November 1994. The Forth Road Bridge has been closed to traffic due to a Greenpeace protest. The group said 10 of its activists have suspended themselves from the bridge in order to block an INEOS tanker from passing underneath. Police say they were alerted just after 1 o'clock this afternoon and were engaged with those involved. The bridge is used by buses, with other vehicles using the Queensferry crossing. And an intricately carved sandstone head, which could be more than 900 years old, has been found on the Orkney island of Rusey. It was discovered by Katie Joss, an archaeology student at the University of the Highlands and Islands, at the Scale Farm dig. The head, which doesn't have a name yet, will be cleaned up and put on public display. Now, the First Minister says he regrets that Mhairi Black has decided to quit the SNP. The party's former deputy leader at Westminster announced in a newspaper interview that she felt the SNP had capitulated on issues that were important to her. Our political correspondent Andrew Kerr joins me now. So, Andrew, what concerns does she have?
Well, Laura, Mhairi Black has been a pretty significant figure in Scottish politics. She had a stunning election victory back in 2015, the youngest MP in Parliament at the age of 20 since 1832, and she stood down from Westminster last year. Now, in a newspaper interview today, she said there were too many times when she did not agree with decisions her party was taking, in particular on trans rights and Palestine, so she says she's now quit the SNP.
And what have we heard then from the SNP leadership?
Yes, the First Minister says he very much regrets her decision to leave. Now, John Swinney was saying that he is pressing the UK government as much as possible on the issue of Palestine and that he is the strongest possible position on LGBT rights as well. Now, Mhairi Black would not speak in any broadcast interviews today. I suppose her critics would say that she was happy to stand under the banner of the SNP when she was a politician at Westminster. Now, with her departure from the party, it is a bit of an end of an era, and next month she starts her one-woman show at the Edinburgh Fringe. She is certainly keeping herself in the public eye.
OK. Andrew, thanks very much indeed. An NHS Fife IT expert told an employment tribunal he has no technical explanation for a disparity over phone notes written by Beth Upton about a patient care allegation involving the nurse Sandy Peggy. The tribunal heard the doctor said the note was written in August 2023, while software analysis suggested it was created in October that year. Another forensic IT analyst told the tribunal that for a note to have been edited before it's been created, something catastrophic would have had to have happened with the Google servers. Stephen Godden reports.
A nurse at Kirkcaldy's Victoria Hospital, Sandy Peggy claims NHS Fife acted unlawfully by allowing transgender doctor Beth Upton to use the female changing room, a claim disputed by the Health Board. Much of today's evidence focused on notes written on Beth Upton's phone that included details of an alleged patient care incident involving the nurse. Peter Donaldson, an information security manager for NHS Fife, told the tribunal that he helped Beth Upton retrieve the phone notes earlier this year. He said there was consternation that the date on which the doctor said they were written didn't match the date software analysis showed they were created. Mr. Donaldson said he couldn't offer a technical explanation for why a note written in August 2023 would show a creation date of October that same year, but he said he didn't believe for 1 minute that Dr. Upton was trying to lead him up the garden path. One explanation, Sandy Peggy's lawyer put it to him, was that Beth Upton was trying to mislead him. He agreed that was possible, but said he didn't believe it to be the case. The tribunal then heard from another IT expert, James Borwick. He'd been instructed by Sandy Peggy's lawyers to examine the evidence produced about Dr. Upton's phone notes. Asked to explain screenshots highlighting the disparity between the dates, the witness said the version history of the phone notes appeared to have been superimposed. Jane Russell KC, who represents NHS Fife and Beth Upton, put it to Mr. Borwick that he'd been instructed to find evidence that Dr. Upton was lying. That prompted an immediate objection from Sandy Peggy's legal team. Later, Jane Russell put it to Mr. Borwick that without having seen the files on the phone himself, he couldn't say for sure that the only explanation for the date disparity was that Dr. Upton was lying. He said he tried to recreate the same scenario without success. It's just not possible, he told the panel. Evidence at the tribunal will continue on Monday. Stephen Godden reporting Scotland, Dundee.
Now, the largest ever indoor exhibition of work by the artist Andy Goldsworthy opens in Edinburgh this weekend. Marking 50 years in art, 40 of them based in Scotland, he's filled the entire Royal Scottish Academy with works made from reeds, branches and leftover grave digging stones. Our arts correspondent Polly McLean has been to meet him.
Andy Goldsworthy has been drawing on the land for inspiration for 50 years. Most of his work is made outside and stays outside. But for this exhibition, he's been given the run of the Royal Scottish Academy.
They've all been cut by me and all been laid by me. To have this building to work with, a major moment for me as an artist. It has been wonderful because you get these tall doorways between galleries, you're getting slices showing you something about what's ahead.
It was working as a teenager on farms in Yorkshire where he first acquired the skills he brought to his art, cutting, digging and stacking materials he found on the land. He moved across the border to Dumfries and Galloway early in his career. Inspired by the landscape and the right to roam, he's been here ever since.
This exhibition is certainly, I hope, an acknowledgement of just how wonderful it has been to have worked in Scotland, to show my appreciation to Scotland, and what a great place it has been to bring up my family.
Pauline McLean, reporting Scotland.
All right, time now for tonight's sport, and Sheila's here, and we've all been waiting to hear more, haven't we, from Josh Taylor when he announced his retirement.
Quite emotional today. He announced his retirement on Monday, and today he's been speaking to our reporter about his decision and his overall career. So let's take a look. Hello there. Former undisputed world champion Josh Taylor admits he felt his world caved in when he was told he had to retire from boxing or risk losing sight in one eye. He's been speaking to our reporter Andy Burke about his career and why he had to make the tough decision after a routine eye check.
The doctor came back, says before you saw one tear, we actually saw 6 tears in your vision. So it was quite a big shock to find out that all of a sudden that's the end of my boxing career, because although as much as I love it, it's not worth losing your sight for, you know. Yeah, well, I've had kind of 2 weeks to absorb it, but the more I think about it, the more upset I get. I'm like, I know I've not sort of completed the game in a sense in terms of becoming the undisputed champion, but kind of not going out on my own terms. Like, it was kind of like a kick in the teeth, you know.
Mental health is such a big part of being who you are and as successful as you are. Is this another battle now? You talk about being in a slump.
Yeah.
Just to get your head around this situation and get yourself back into a good headspace.
Yeah, it has been quite tough, yeah, when I sit and talk about it, but yeah, it's been tough, but as I said, the messages of support that I've had has helped lift that, you know, because it's made me feel a little bit better and made me feel appreciated and made me feel that I've done good in the sport.
Is there one night, one moment that sticks out above the rest as that was as good as it got?
To be fair, like, you know, I always knew I was going to become world champion and wanted to become world champion, but I'd say my proudest moment in like my career and results-wise is the Commonwealth Games, and I've said this many times in many interviews. The Commonwealth Games in Glasgow was amazing.
How would you like to be remembered?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. Just maybe just a fighter. Just a fighter that took on all challenges and wasn't afraid to take a shot, you know, a good fighter.
Football now, and Hibernian head coach David Gray says he's proud of his players after they drew 1-1 away to Danish side Midtjylland in their opening Europa League qualifier. Jamie McGrath scored from a free kick on his debut to give Hibs a 1-0 lead early on, but the Danes equalised in the second half. They'll meet again in the second leg in Edinburgh next week.
They had to endure a lot of concentration without the ball, and when you're tired that can be difficult. It's warm as well, the temperature, so a lot of factors that they had to contend with tonight, but honestly I'm proud of the players for their efforts, and I've just reminded them of that, but it's only part one. But the good thing is, back to Easter Road, a full house, sell out, that's all we can ask for from this part.
Elsewhere, Jim Goodwin admits Dundee United's 1-0 win over Luxembourg's Una Strazen means it's still very much game on for the second leg of their Conference League qualifier. Australian striker Zach Sapsford, one of 7 new signings who started for United, scored the only goal at the start of the second half at Tannadice. Hamilton Academicals say that a complete overhaul of the League One club is underway after they were issued with a season-long transfer ban by the SPFL for failing to settle their tax obligations. In what Chairman Jock Brown has called the most difficult period in their history, the club has also moved from New Douglas Park to play at Broadwood Stadium, while a 15-point deduction last season led to the side being relegated from the Championship. Cycling, and Oscar Onley is on course to equal the best ever finish for a Scot at only his second Tour de France, going into the final 2 stages this weekend. The rider from Kelso held on to the leading pack for most of the 93-kilometre mountain stage today, and his top 5 finish means he's now 5 minutes clear in 4th place for the Tour overall. Finally, some golf, and Gemma Dryborough looks to be the only Scot left in this weekend's action at the Scottish Open. After a much better round, saw her record 5 under for the day, just meeting the projected cut of 1 over par. England's Lottie Wood is leading her first pro tournament on 12 under going into the weekend, with Nelly Korda and Anna Madsen 2 shots behind at Dundonald Links. Lots of sport going on and lots over the weekend as well, Laura.
There is indeed. Let's find out how the weather will be for those golfers and presidential planes arriving and everything else, Gillian.
Well, it's looking a wee bit mixed. We had lots of cloud around today, Laura. This evening we've seen a bit more brightness than we've had all day, really. But over the weekend there will be some sunshine, but also a few heavy showers around. Good evening to you. Today we've had a good deal of cloud around, some showery bits and pieces. But when the sun did come out, it was quite warm. We got the low 20s in parts of eastern Scotland. Heading into the weekend, we have low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, setting us up with a westerly airflow that will make for pretty changeable conditions over the weekend. For tonight, we'll continue to see a scattering of showers, especially for the Northern and Western Isles, the Northwest Highlands, Argyll, a few further south. Eastern Scotland seeing the clearest skies overnight, and temperature-wise, 11 or 12 Celsius for most of us. Tomorrow, broadly speaking, a day of sunny spells and scattered showers. Most of the showers fairly light, but there will be a few heavier ones in the mix. If we take a closer look around about 4 o'clock, some decent sunny spells for the Northern Isles, highs 16 or 17 Celsius. Quite brisk west-southwesterly winds here. Eastern Scotland and parts of southern Scotland will be warmest, up to 19 or 20 Celsius, best sheltered in that wind direction. And the showers will be most frequent over Argyll, the Northwest Highlands and the Western Isles, where a few of them could be on the heavy side. And as we head towards evening, cloud increasing for Western Scotland, and that rain becomes more persistent, and it will be heavy at times, quite a wet spell overnight. Again, drier conditions for eastern parts, but it means we'll start Sunday with plenty of cloud and with those showery outbreaks of rain working southeastwards. Now into the afternoon, the cloud becomes a bit more broken. There will still be a fair few showers around though, and some of them will be heavy with a risk of thunder, especially for eastern Scotland. Temperature wise, up to about 18 or 19 Celsius for most of us. Heading into Monday, and high pressure building in from the south, the weather front moving in later on. So we'll start Monday with some showery rain in the northwest. That will clear, generally lots of dry and fairly settled weather. That cloud thinning and breaking to allow some sunshine, and temperatures in the high teens. Laura.
Gillian, thank you so much. Now to tonight's main news again. Donald Trump is due to touch down in Scotland shortly amid a massive security operation. The US President's expected to visit his 2 golf resorts here and meet the Prime Minister and the First Minister. And Mhairi Black, the former SNP deputy leader at Westminster, has quit the party, claiming it's capitulated on trans rights. The First Minister says he regrets her decision. Well, Amy Irons will be here with your late news around 10:30 tonight, and you can turn over right now for the news at 7 on the BBC Scotland channel for more from Prestwick as they await the arrival of President Donald Trump. Amy is standing by to bring you that news. But until then, from everyone here on the team, enjoy the rest of your evening and we'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.